with Paints and Glitter, and I'm coming along today with a live video because I haven't done one in a while. So, as I wait for crafters and people to join me, I am going to grab some information that I want to share because I will be crafting with Paper Discovery from Olga Duretarenko, and this is found at Craftstash. Sorry, I'm going to be using this collection today. So once I get people here, I will share, of course, the items. And first, I want to share that. Okay, so hopefully I have crafters join me here. And I'm gonna wait a couple of minutes because I don't have anyone here just yet. But as I wait, I'm gonna grab a couple of things that I'm going to be using. And hello, Tanya. Thank you for being here. You must have gotten a notification, so I appreciate you coming over to check out the channel. And I'm just going to grab the stack of items that I've been working with here. Feel free to share the channel. Hello, I see DB Butterfly. Thank you for being here. I'm not familiar with, let's see here. I'm just waiting for my channel here to kick on. I have a little bit of a lag, and I do apologize for that. But I have a little bit of a lag on my iPad, and I'm trying to use that to see the commentary. So, first of all, I've shared a link in the chat. So if anyone's watching the video later, or if you want to refer to it today, if you want to go ahead and click on that link, even if you're saving it for later this week, if you're not shopping today, that would do me a huge favor. But I'm going to share with you what I've used today, or what I'm going to be using. It occurred to me that I wanted to make a really pretty card using this collection because it's not yet Christmas. There's a little bit left of November, but I wanted to use this. This is called Bountiful Harvest by Olga Duretarenko, and it is a beautiful collection, and I'm so sad to say that I haven't used much of it yet, but it has a bunch of different dies and or stamps and coordinating dies. Here, I'm sorry for the glare, but here's one, and you'll see how I've used the images. For this today, I'm using this image here, and it's got the little mushroom and the leaves there. It's got these falling leaves, the butterfly. I stamped and colored these two, and then this one up here as well. And then it comes with this, but oh, hi Lady Cree, thank you so much for being here. I hope you can stay with us. It has this gorgeous envelope die, but I won't be using it in this particular card because it's a little bit smaller. And I also will be using this, which you just saw a minute ago, and this is the 5x7 background leaves stencil, but it does also come with guys, it's a huge collection, so just to let you know, it's an amazing set of dies and stamps. It comes with this one here, which if you saw the hop that I did with Lady Cree, who's here in the audience right now, or watching, I did an easel card using these dies here, and as you can see, it's got the little mice and the pumpkins and all of that. So really adorable. And then it has these leaves, which I cut out today for the first time, only a few of them, and then the little moth and dragonfly and the little bee. I mean, there's a lot to it, but that's just you know, of course, a peek at the items, and it's super duper detailed, but I wanted to play around. I have these dies. This is from the Tonic Craft Kit number 60 that released last month, and it has some really beautiful shapes, and of course you don't have to use them only for mini album making, which is that's what this is designed for. Originally, of course, you can make cards. So I took 3 dies that are from this collection, and I cut out some shapes. And what I did was that I first folded the paper and then I ran it through the die cutting machine with the corresponding size. So if you can picture the paper just folded on this one edge, and then I ran it through like so. So it gave me my little hinge that I'm going to be using for this particular card. And all I did was measure the size of the die, and then right where the die measurement ended, I scored my paper, and then I measured 3/8 of an inch away from that, and then I folded the paper, made my little sandwich, and cut my paper out. So I hope that makes sense. So I did that a total of 2 times. This is going to be the largest panel that I'll be using. I also did it with, let me see here if I can explain myself. I did it with a medium-sized panel. Sorry, my stuff is a little bit far. So I did it with this panel here for a medium size, which I already went ahead and stamped and colored. So here it is. This is using that stamp set. And if you're wondering what I used to achieve this final result, over here in the corner you might see these Catherine Pooler inks. I used several. Sugared Lavender and Sweet 16 were the purples that I used. And that's what you see here. Then, thank you so much. I also, on this particular one, used the colors Daydream and Stone Blue. That's how I achieved the shadowing that you see there. And of course you can tell that I splattered it. And then at the very end, once that was dry, because if you're going to use inks as if they were watercolor, you kind of want to be patient and let that dry. Then at the very end, I went in with Juniper Mist. Thank you so much. And for that green that you see here, I also used Sea Foam, and I used Mint to Be. So you can use them if you're familiar with colored pencils or alcohol markers. You can do the same with inks. Just use gradations or, you know, complementary colors, and you can achieve the same kind of results. And it's so much easier because all you have to do, and here's how I do it. I stamp my image. I did use my Tim Holtz platform for that, by the way, but I stamped my image. Let's just pretend I did it with this block. And then once I have the stamp still here, whatever ink is left on that stamp, because these are so juicy, there's always like some ink left on the stamp. I'll literally grab my little water brush, which I use this one here. I have different sizes. And I wet it with whatever ink is there, and that's what I begin my coloring with. Then I stamp the same block with the ink pads, and I continue on. And then of course you can do the splatter at the end, however you like. So that's the one image that I have there. I also wanted to mention I did a smaller panel. I did the same thing with the whole folding thing, and then I cut it with this other smaller die. Okay, and you can see on the edges it's kind of icky looking because of the amount of pressure that it creates. This is 110-pound cardstock, by the way, if I didn't mention that. And that I fed again like that. Gave me my little fold, right? And then of course I cut those same panels out again with the decorative paper that I'm going to be layering on top. This is from Minte. I just used it not too long ago in the hop. There's just another leftover piece. Looks like this on the back, but I'm going with this color. And then I also cut it out with, guys, look at this leaf. Are you kidding me? Look at how gorgeous. So I cut it out with this panel here. Now, because of the die sets, the way that they come, there's a solid one, and then there's a more detailed leaf. So I think I showed you guys those. Pretty sure I did. Yes. That's this one here. I know it's going to come up in questions, right? So this is the Bountiful Harvest leaves. So if you can tell here, there are some solid ones. Those are the dark gray ones. And then there's the skeleton leaves. And that's exactly what I did. I cut into that background. This is all going to make sense in a minute. With the solid one, sorry. And then I cut out with the glitter paper the leaf, the skeleton leaf that'll fit right in here. Now, with those solid pieces, I also cut out the rest of these that you see here in vellum. You see that? And they're so darling. I was thinking actually even for a table scatter, if you were having a dinner and you didn't really have a whole lot of time to decorate, you could even just use these and put them around your table. It would look so pretty. So there's my bunch of leaves that I cut out. And I'm sorry if I'm bumping the camera. It's the first time I think I've used it in this direction. And then here's some more images. I did the same stamping, and it does have the coordinating dies there. So there's actually the one that I cut out of the background that I mentioned. There's that one. And let's see what else. Okay, so here's another image that I stamped and colored. So here all I did was use the Sweet 16 to color in the leaves, and then I topped it off with Meant to Be as my highlight. Cut that out of the background. And then I also went ahead and stamped and colored some butterflies. That's part of the collection. I mean, this is wonderful because it doesn't have to necessarily even be for fall, because it has so much to offer. So there's that. And hopefully the people that are leaving are just checking it out on Craftstash and hopefully coming back. But there's all of that. Okay. Now, I'm going to set this aside a second and grab my panel. Actually, it's this one that I'm going to work on first. And I do have a piece of acetate, so I'll explain that in a moment. I'm going to grab this stencil that I mentioned. Hello, Carrie. Thank you for being here. And using those same colors, this is where this is going to come in, of course. I'm going to take this, and I was thinking of coloring this in just super duper lightly. And I'm going to use the lightest of the lavenders here. So I'm actually going to stamp this onto my media mat here. And then pick it up with the brush because I want very little of it. I don't want this to be absolutely saturated. And then I'm going to go in and just color super duper lightly. And here and there, of course. And this is just for effect. But I think it's such a pretty way to decorate a background. I'll go ahead and do 3 of these. And it might end up covered, who knows? We'll see what happens. But I hope everyone's having a fabulous Friday. I had not done a live video, it feels like in 100 years. And today I had the opportunity, so I figured why not? Come along, say hi to everyone. And okay, so this is going to be extremely subtle, and that's exactly what I'm looking for. I know it might be difficult to see here on this video, but later on, as I always say, I'll go ahead and share pictures. So I'm going to grab a different brush now because I don't want to cross-contaminate my inks here. And this is going to be the Meant to Be, which is also the lightest of the greens that I was using. And I'm just going to do the same thing here, barely tapping that on there and strategically placing it so that I don't overlap, of course, what I already did here. And this is also a wonderful way to spruce up paper. If you don't have a lot of paper in your stash, stencils are the way to go because then you can create your own. And inks can get expensive, so if there is one thing that you prefer to craft with, if it happens to be inks, then stencils are, you can even make your own, of course, the same way that I cut into that lavender paper with that leaf die. If you only have one set of leaf dies, you can go ahead and cut into a background piece of paper and then use that as your stencil if you're on a budget. So there's a lot of different ways to approach this. And There's that one, and then I'm going to do one more for good measure up here. And of course I wanted this to be subtle, very, very subtle. Just like that. And I see, oh, thank you so much. Thank you, thank you. Okay, there's that. All right, so I'm gonna set that aside. If I were being very diligent, I would clean everything up, oh, immediately and all that good stuff. Yeah, that's not gonna happen today. I just toss it aside and move on. Okay, now I want to make sure that I can adhere this to my next panel, because my intention, as the title of the video indicates, is to make a tri-fold card. So here was my idea. Here's my little seam, and pardon the background, this is where I make my messes, right? And then here's the one that I had stamped. I want this to open kind of like a little book. So I'm actually going to adhere this right to the left of this. And what I want to make sure is that when it folds in this direction, that it closes even here. And if you know about paper crafting, there's always that little gusset there that's got a bit of, you know, you can't adhere absolutely flush so that it folds well. So I'm going to put my paper like this, then make my fold, and that's where I'm going to put my adhesive, and I'm going to go ahead and use the Nuvo Deluxe adhesive. And this is going to dry nice. It also allows me the opportunity to kind of wiggle the paper around if I need to. So it's a little bit more forgiving than using some of the tape runners and that sort of thing. So now I'm going to just fold this over like that. And you might be asking, what about that bit? I'm just going to cut that away in a minute once this is dry. So I would love to know how many of you guys are Christmas crafting already. I know I am. I've been doing a little bit of everything, but while you're here, I want to let you know, and thank you so much for the thumbs up. I see that there's 5 people here, so if I can get 5 thumbs up, that'll make my day. Because I know that I didn't announce this ahead of time, and you guys are so patient with me when I'm crafting live. I truly, truly appreciate it. So if I see that I need a little bit more of this because I was being very, very careful here, I can go ahead and add more. And of course, I try to be a little bit more patient when I'm doing a live, because of the fact that I'm also trying to pay attention to the chat and all that good stuff, guys. Otherwise, I would be whipping through this. Okay, so a lot of pressure. If you need to, you can use the bone folder. You don't have to, but it, you know, bears repeating that any tool that you have that's going to allow you to get a nice straight crease is always a good thing. Okay, now that I feel that that's secure, I'm going to cut away this little portion here that I feel I don't need. And I'm just going to follow that with my Tim Holtz scissors there. See, I just went right to the edge there. And whatever you're comfortable with, I'm left-handed, guys, so this might all look absolutely backwards to you, but I think I'm going to come from this direction and just cut here. And I'm going to try to follow that little curve as much as I can, but I'm going to forgive myself if it's not absolutely perfect, because that's okay. This is just paper crafting. So now I've got my little fold here, right? Now, this is, in essence, the back side of the card, but I do want that to be pretty. However, because I have another panel, this is a tri-fold, I'm going to take this one first and adhere this one now on the opposite edge. And this is going to be actually the front of my card. Okay, so I'm kind of working backwards here, but that's okay. Now on here, I can be a little bit more proactive and cut this at a 45-degree angle, just like that. Apply my adhesive and go ahead and lay this down. And if I wanted to, of course, I could do the stenciling on this side as well. But for the sake of this video, I'm just going to go ahead and place this down like that. And making sure, of course, that this bottom edge is absolutely flush. That's going to make it look like I really, really planned this out. And of course, when the recipient opens it, then it'll be able to sit flat on a table. So I see that DB Butterfly. I think you've been here before, and I do apologize if I don't remember your first name, but please feel free to remind me. Yes, there's a lot. Oh my gosh. I always feel like I'm so behind on all of my crafting. It doesn't matter how, like, even if I start Christmas in July, I never get around to doing everything. But also, the other thing is my list of people that I even send cards to has decreased, oh my goodness, so much. Because it's, you know, now people do the pictures, or they just don't even send out cards anymore. A lot of people don't. Okay, but you get the gist of this. You see that? That's where you get the trifold, and it's super easy. It's a really easy concept. But of course, I like to complicate things, so here's what I'm going to do. On the front, this is where I intend to put this. And of course, as I mentioned, I had cut out a piece of acetate. So y'all know where this is going, right? Let me get my little pokey tool. And I'm going to take off the clear backing that it has, or protective sheet there. And I could use my Nuvo adhesive for that, but because I'm going to try to go a little bit faster for the sake of the video, I'm actually going to use double-sided adhesive, and I do get this from scrapbook.com. Let me make sure you guys can see me. I think you can. And guys, this stuff is really strong, let me tell you. I am very happy with how this works, and yes, I do have links to all of these places in the description bar of my channel. And I'm just going to go around the perimeter. You guys already know all about this. And here we are. Okay. All right. So this is going to be the front of my card, as I mentioned before. I'm not going to complicate things here. Just going to adhere this to the acetate. Let's go in this direction. And this is going to be probably the more involved part of this video, but I never tire of making shakers. I just think they're so cute. Okay, so again, this is the front. I'm going to make sure that I line this up correctly. And if I have a little bit of excess left over on the edges, I'll just cut it away. But I did use the die to cut it. Now the die will leave the indentation, and then you do have to run your scissors around it if you're not familiar with how to cut that on a die cut machine. Now that I have that adhered, now I'm going to take away the backing on this other side. Okay. And now I've got that side. Now, scrapbook.com also sells this wonderful 3D adhesive, and I really like it for a couple of reasons. Number one, it's about 1/8 of an inch wide, but it's foam adhesive that you can shape. That's why I like it. Or, of course, you can just take it with your scissors like so and snip off what you don't need, or etc., etc. And I really enjoy using this stuff because I can get right to the edge of my paper Makes shakers a bit less stressful, I think. And it cuts easily. What I like to make sure I do is to meet up at the corners and all that, and not leave any gaps if I can manage to do so. And then here, I kind of need an angle, so actually I'm going to grab a longer piece because I can always use those other ones for different projects. Okay. I probably said longer, meaning to say shorter, but I'm going to cut this at a 45-degree angle here and meet it up with that one that I had already placed there, and then go around my curve. And as I place it, I'm of course putting pressure there so that it glues onto that background. And then where it meets over here, I'm just going to do the same thing. 45-degree angle, and I'm good to go. So just going to get that off my scissors. Okay. If you want to, you can also, I'm just going to cut it there. You can also add, depending on what you're making, you know, you can add a little bit more adhesive here and there, but because I'm making a shaker, and I want the bits to move freely, I'm just going to leave it like so. Okay. If you find that, of course, it's going to cave in, then you might want to add a little bit more adhesive. I'm going to grab my sequins. And I'm going to use these two. They just happen to match. Water Lily Pink and Luminous Lily Pad Hexagons. So I'm going to use those two colors. Look at how pretty they are. And what I'm going to try to do, of course, is add the bottom portion first to the front of my card. Kind of create a pocket. Okay. And, yep, that's nice and sticky. I'm going to line it up with my card, making sure it's right to the edge. And I kind of have to double and triple check, guys, because I'm trying to make sure I'm in frame while I do this. Okay. All right, I think that's as good as it's gonna get. But I think I'm happy with that. So if you see the edge there, okay, it's all the way around and it doesn't look messy, so I'm happy with that. So before I seal this part off, I'm just gonna feed it some sequins, and you see how it'll stand? It's good to go already. I'm gonna refresh here. Okay, just checking my chat there really quickly. So I'm just gonna put some in there, whatever works, right? A little bit of this and a little bit of that. This color is so pretty. Oh, look at that. Oh my gosh, so gorgeous. And they stick on that lid, but I leave them there because then I can pick them up, you know, individually if I want to, and add them to the front of a project. Okay. All right. So you're always going to get one or two little loose ends there. But now I can go ahead and take off the backing, see? And then I'm just going to pinch this together very gently, and I've got my shaker. And there's that portion. I think it's so pretty. Now I'm going to take that this leaf here. Now I want to make sure that this folds nicely. Yep, it does. If you get a little, okay, I think there was maybe one that got caught in there somewhere, but I think they're all trapped inside nicely. Yep. Wanted to make sure that it'll fold nicely. I'm going to apply a little bit of adhesive to the back of this and place that now right in the center. just like so. And this will dry clear, so if you get a little bit of a smudge, you don't have to worry too much. But you, of course, don't want to apply too much glue when you're making these kinds of things either. So that way you get a nice clean result. And because I don't trust myself, I'm going to use my tweezers and then place this down right on top. Just like that. And then I'm going to hold that for 1 second. And I see I have a few more people here. If you want to say hi, I welcome you to my channel if you're new here. If you haven't yet, please click the subscribe button. That way you get notified of any videos, any tutorials, any giveaways, any collaborations, all that good stuff. That way you don't miss out. But I know it's very subtle, but that is my preference on how to craft anyway. And I know that there's little shaker bits in there, and the recipient will be able to hear it as it moves and also see a bit of that color. Okay, so because I want this to be nice and finished, I'm now going to apply this bit back here. And if I see that it has trouble folding, of course I can cut away any portion of that, but I think it's going to be just fine. Okay, so I'm just going to apply adhesive here. And if you were doing a gift card, for instance, if you wanted to surprise someone, you can just cut a slit into this piece and then put it on. And that way you have a place to also add a gift card to this type of card that will be a bit discreet, if you will. And the recipient can still display their card without having that portion be the center of attention. But now you see how that hides the seam that was there. Very nice and clean. And I also have the stitching border of that die, which I think is so very pretty. So here's now the lavender and then the blue. And then on the inside, here's the 3D, of course, effect there of having the different images. And the rest is a matter of decorating with the items that I had cut out. And my idea was to go ahead and place some of these vellum flowers on this side because I can place the sentiment right here. And I know that I had that. I had my sentiment. Yeah, I don't know what I did with the sentiment, guys, so I don't know where I put it. Oh, here it is. I found it. Oh, yeah, yeah. Okay, here we go. I've got my sentiment that I can stamp here. Or I can actually put it separately also so that I don't ruin this. So I think I might do that. But anyway, back to this. I can add my little leaves that I had cut out. And I'm just, without thinking about it way too much, I'm going to start placing these here. And again, just a tiny bit of glue. It will dry clear, as I mentioned before. But it'll give this texture without adding too much bulk because I cut it out in such a light weight paper, which is the vellum. And I might leave that one out because it's quite large. But I'm just gonna, I'm going right along the vein of the leaf also, if that means anything to you. But if you see also, the vellum has that natural tendency of lifting up. So it's gonna add a little bit of interaction to this card. And because the other thing is because the water from the adhesive will kind of make it curl a little bit. And it's okay if it goes off the edge a tiny little bit there too. It is meant to be just a fun card. Can add another one over here. We've got different shapes, of course. And I just want it to look like they just scattered all over the place. So I don't Don't need too many, but I guess I like this size. And of course I can also add them to the back. I think I'm going to put this one right over here. Okay. And I had these pieces, which I mentioned before. I could have added that to the background there, but I think I'm going to actually add it back here. I'm going to add a tiny bit more glue to this piece so that it doesn't pop off the edge there. And I hope you guys are seeing me okay. Please let me know. I don't see any activity in the chat, so I'm not sure if you're able to see me clearly. Sometimes my connection is a little bit off, so I do appreciate any feedback. But I can add these little guys down here. I think I might add them just like so. Why not? So there's that one. And for these, I just used the blue colors that I had mentioned earlier. Just going to overlap them. Because I cut them out of 110-pound cardstock, I don't really need to add too much dimension to them because it's really going to pop from the background anyway. Oh, wonderful. Awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you for letting me know. And then there's this set of little falling leaves that I could definitely add here. And then add the sentiment on top. Let's see here. Or, let's not forget the back of this. Can add it here as well. I think I'm going to add it here. So here's that. So again, the idea is that if this is put on a tabletop, that from any direction that you see it, that it's going to look pretty. So here's some of the little guys that I had cut out previously. And this is the little moth, the dragonfly. Here we are. Okay, so I can lay these two guys together. I had a little smudge there of ink, so I'm going to strategically cover it up now. We all have to know how to do that, right? And then add my little layer of glitter paper just in the center there, so that way that'll still move a little bit. And here I can add this. And of course, here you can see how I was testing that ink. You can add glimmer to this as much as you like. But I think that's going to look really pretty right there. Just continuing on kind of the motion there. And I can add one of these little butterflies. I had stamped and colored this one and added some shimmer. Ooh, looks like I need a little more. Oh, I'm good to go. Sometimes it lifts, and I think it's because it's cold. Okay, so I'm going to add my little butterfly here. Just right here in this little open spot. And there, all I did was put Jelly Roll pen on top of the stamping. If you're wondering, this is, you can heat emboss them, but I just traced over it. Okay. And then on this side here, I actually did cut another panel because I wanted this to be nice and pristine. So this is going to cover that up. And on here, I can stamp my information, of course. I'm going to do that really quickly before I forget. I think I want to use gray ink. So I have have to hold my breath whenever I do this, of course, in case I ruin it. But I'm just going to quickly stamp this right just at the bottom there. There we go. And now I'm just going to add this panel on the back. And so as to not be wasteful, I can go ahead and use some of this other kind of leftover bits, if you will. But this is going to make it nice and finished because it also has that beautiful stitched edge. Okay. Just making sure that it's even on all sides. And I was thinking of adding, of course, this purple leaf back here because I think it's so pretty. And I can write a message back here still. I think I'm going to put it up here like so. That way I have a space here to write a message. And I can still add another one of these little guys right here. Just like so. And I still have some butterflies left over, which I can add over here because I still have room for a sentiment. And this is how I craft. I kind of go back and forth, but I think it's fun. Thank you so much. Thank you, Carrie. I really appreciate it. Now, this is a glimmer pen. This is called Glitter Gloss from Tonic Studios. And I'm just going to go ahead and brush this a little bit. I do have to squeeze it a tiny bit. Make sure my gloss comes out. Kind of like to test it a little bit on a piece of acrylic or on a spare piece of paper. And what I don't want to do is get this overly wet, but I'm just going to apply a tiny bit here and there. Because this ink is water reactive, this, or no it's not, not the black, I take that back. This black ink is not water reactive, then I should be able to go ahead and color over this. And if you're wondering, for this I did use VersaFine. I kind of have everything thrown over here. I'm sure you could see it. But this is what I use, and I just write a little W on the corner so I remind myself that that's the safe ink to use if I'm watercoloring. And then if your stamping isn't absolutely perfect, it doesn't matter because you're adding shine and it's going to look super cute. So there's a little bit of shine on the edges. Of course, I concentrated more on the edge there because of the black ink, but then I can go over here as well and kind of hit this up a tiny bit and make everything just whimsical and sweet because that's my style of crafting. And add a little shine to the leaves. So what started out as a plain stamp now has this just very pretty little scenery going on here. And over here I had stamped this, and I don't think I mentioned it at the beginning of the video. I left some white spots here. When you're doing like a watercolor technique, you don't have to color the entire image. You can leave some of it white. It just lends to the softness there of that. And any little bits of adhesive I'll just clean off with my rubber eraser. And then of course I can hit up some of that stamping or stenciling that I had done. Just add a tiny bit of shine to that as well, why not? Because it's so subtle. My die cuts had a little bit of dust there, and that's just from the die cutting machine. But it's easy to just take that right off. So as you can see there, I'm just tracing essentially what I had already put on my background. Not having to be too terribly careful either. Just wherever it falls, that's okay. Because now I have this subtle shine. It's almost like having embossed paper, but it's very, very light in color. And you can still see it through, I don't know if you can tell, but you can see it through the vellum as well. So say you had to make some even wedding invitations. This is such a nice subtle way of doing that because you could stamp just 1 or 2 images on the background and just place vellum on top. And adding that little bit of shine makes it look so rich and pretty. And of course you could do the edges of those leaves, whatever you like, just to keep the eye moving along the page. But it's so much fun. And once that dries, it's gonna, like I said before, it'll have a little bit of movement on the page because it's not completely stuck. I only did the centers, so the recipient can curl it up to her, you know, as much as she would like. This one's a little bit flatter because I did add more adhesive there, but these guys curl up. And then it's got the shaker on the front, and on the back it looks like that. But I think it's super sweet. I might add one more butterfly. I don't know. I wasn't intending on making this a butterfly card, but it's hard to resist using them. I think I'm going to add a little bit more gel because I love the shine. And I had used those really dark inks to just test them out with the stamp. But you can do white ink on this. You can use your diamond dots, of course. Or you can go all out on the fall colors and make it dark. Well, depends on what you're going for, right? I think I'm just going to add that one right there. Okay. And there's the back. So I think I'm going to stop here because I've had you guys here for how long? It's 47 minutes already, I think. But before you go, I actually do want to invite you guys to participate in a challenge, a bit of a challenge. And so I'm going to give you guys a sneak peek of something that I'm working on. And the reason why is because it's, you have to get it in to my dear friend Isabel, who's the Shabby Hippie here on YouTube. She's inviting everyone to send her a loaded mitten. And I thought that was such a wonderful idea. So I got mine started. And what she would like is just to send her a couple little items. She's got her challenge on her channel. Again, her name is the Shabby Hippie. And she's doing a giveaway to one lucky winner. So what I wanted to share was that she said you could send her a tag, you could send her ephemera, anything that would fit inside of the mitten. And I'm just grabbing a couple things here, guys. I'm not completely done. I'm working on some of this stuff. But I went ahead and used my Cricut maker to cut out some of these items. I'm just going to set this aside here for a second. My little 3-fold card. I'm happy with it. It's too bad I can't set it like this and let you guys see it from that angle, but I promise you it's got all that soft glimmer and it looks so cute. But I went ahead and used my Cricut maker and I cut out these gorgeous little snowflakes with, I used white cardstock. Got glue on my hands. I use holographic cardstock, and then I use this light blue cardstock, and then I just put little gems around and a little pearl in the center because I thought those would be really easy to use either on a card or a bag topper or a gift. So I made 4 of those, and then I made her a tag. And this little penguin is from Tonic Studios, and I've had her laying around for far too long. I actually have a drawer full of embellishments and things that I've stamped and things like that. And I thought, you know what? I finally have someone to send this to that makes sense. I don't know. I had been playing around that day, and this is really old, guys, but I figured she looks so cute with her little ice skates and the I had this yarn that actually has sequins in it. I don't know if you can tell, but I added that to the little collar, and then the little headphones, or not headphones, earmuffs are holographic. So I matched it up with one of those snowflakes that I had made, and I added it to this adorable little tag, and the paper is from Tea Time and Dolls. So if you like that, that's actually a digital paper that you can print out at home. And then I backed up with another digital, and this one is from Shabby Art Boutique, I believe is her name. So I made her that because she said that could be one entry. And then here's the mitten. So I hope Isabel doesn't watch this video. But this is the mitten that I made her. I actually made it into a shaker, guys. What I did was that I cut out the shape using my Cricut Maker. It actually comes with this scrolly bit that you see here, and it's a flat shape. However, I went ahead and cut it out twice, and I used my own digital collection here. If you see that with the snowflakes, it's very subtle. It's got splatters and it's got pink and blue. So I used the little diamond dots to decorate that, and then I went ahead and repeated the silver back here. And she does want to hang these, so I added the little grommet there so that she can lace that through. Let me see, I did it on the front, did I? No, I guess yes, I did. I did it on the front, but you can't see it because it's kind of bulky there. However, I added a snowflake from Renee Bouquets and some lace, and I don't know where the lace came from. I can't remember, but I added a little gem there. I added this trim that I believe was given to me, and then this little pom-pom trim. And what I did to make it dimensional is that I took a strip of paper and I scored it and folded it and just went along the whole entire edge, and that gave me that nice pocket there. And as you can tell, I added different color sequins there. I didn't do the best job at making a shaker, but it still shakes. And then this here's from Tim Holtz in the center, that little rose. I cut the shank off of it because it's an old kind of an antique button. And then I added that beautiful grosgrain ribbon. And yeah, I guess that's it for now. So I do have some embellishments that I'm working on, but the idea is to fit them inside of the mitten if you can. You don't have to make it like this, of course. Some other ladies are making it so that it has a little bit of a gusset, or of course you could add an envelope to the back if you wanted to, if the items fit in this portion here. I mean, that's really up to you how you make it. But I thought that I should let you guys know, because the entries need to be postmarked no later than the end of this month, November. So if you can participate, please do. It would be a wonderful way to support her channel. She makes the most gorgeous little junk journals, and so if you like that type of craft, you might want to go check out her channel and just give her some support. I really love, you know, just encouraging everybody to be kind to everyone here on YouTube. And even if it's not your style of crafting, it doesn't matter. The idea is to just be friendly and be polite, of course, because we all love the same thing. It's paper crafting. It's having friendships. It's loving on each other with the things that we make with our hands. And I think that's what's more important than anything else. So I do appreciate you guys having been here with me today. I won't keep you any longer for the sake of, you know, not boring you guys, and also for my health. But as I always say, I hope that you guys can be inspired and be blessed. And I thank you so much for watching, and thank you for keeping me company as I made this little card that will be going out in the mail tomorrow. So God bless you guys. Bye-bye.